So, I'm playing the new Reverse 1999 patch. As I'm playing Chapter 11, we get introduced to this gorgeous character. I fall in love with her character design, personality, and her as an overall character. Then, after I finished playing Chapter 11, it dawned on me that this was just an NPC. Another NPC added to Reverse 1999 NPC jail. I have mentioned in another video that I don't really care for NPCs in games, especially if the NPC design isn't even appealing to look at nor have a personality worth noticing. But I do love when an NPC who played a huge role in the story have a unique model, whether they be evil or good. I also just love having favorite NPCs besides just playable characters. If an NPC have a unique model, I always find it fun to see the community decide whether they will be a future playable character in the future or not. One thing I hate is when an NPC who doesn't move the plot along get all the screen time, especially if their model doesn't have any special qualities about them. Out of all the gacha games I played, Honkai Star Rail is the one game without any unique models besides Lygus, Xerxes, and Pollux. Because the Honkai Star Rail dev team is too lazy to design models of NPCs, which is actually important. Like when we saw Anexa's sister, who's literally one of the most important people in his life, have a plain NPC model. To be honest, I have a lot to say about Honkai Star Rail models in general, but that's for another section. Now, I want to talk about Reverse 1999 NPCs. I personally think Reverse 1999 NPCs are the best. This is due to how many of them I want to be playable and how much I enjoy them in the story. Going into a new chapter in the story and seeing an NPC to design like a playable character is either going to go three ways. The character being evil, you loving the character and wanting them to be playable, or them dying. I have in fact experienced all three of those, so I would know. Reverse 1999 future characters are unpredictable, so it's always a chance for an NPC to become playable in the future patches. Especially knowing that a couple of NPCs has become playable in Reverse. My favorite NPC is Enigma. When we first met him in Chapter 5 side story, I didn't expect to love him as much as I do. At first, he came off as a grumpy, sarcastic man who didn't care about the people around him, but seeing how much he developed in Chapter 7 made him my favorite. For example, when we first met him, he said his sister didn't really have anything to do with him in a side story. But in Chapter 7, it shows how much her death affected him. Also, seeing him being angry at Lucy getting fired, the same person he had negative feelings towards in the beginning of the story when we first met him, was really when I seen him begin to grow. Now I get excited to see him in any story content. His sister's death didn't just affect him, it affected me too. Huffman was the first NPC to actually make me cry in this game. She was an amazing mentor to Marcus, and she was trying her best to help people even when she was dying. I just enjoyed her overall character, even though this was the first time we actually met her in the story. Y'all don't know how much I cried during her death scene. Madam Huffman, I still think about you sometimes. You could have been playable. I really do believe having these types of NPCs in the story, whether it be event or main story, really enhances the enjoyment of the story. Well, at least my enjoyment of it. While on the topic of unique NPC models, I also want to talk about playable character models, specifically past versions of said character. When a game takes the time to model a character's younger self, I just think that's peak storytelling. Us experiencing a character's childhood but not seeing said character as their younger self breaks my immersion in the story. Going through Reppa's past in her adult form really threw me out the story, especially knowing that she's supposed to be 10 when she was experiencing all of this. Even though they showed her younger self at the end, it would have been better if we can see her younger self throughout the quest. And don't even get me started on finding supposed to be child model. They didn't even try. That part in the story almost made me skip that whole section. Wuthering Waves and Reverse 1999 are the best examples when it comes to making new models for their characters. With Wuthering Waves, we have already seen 4 characters' kid models while also getting other versions of playable characters. Please Koro, release for Loba and Carlotta Dark versions, I will buy them. With Reverse 1999, we have seen over 14 character child models. I don't play many character stories in Reverse, so when I checked, I was kinda surprised to find out it was so many. They even made a child model of an NPC, which is insane. You can just tell the amount of effort that is put into these games. I know Genshin and Zenless Zone Zero also have very unique NPCs. Since I don't really play Genshin World Quest, I can't really speak about how many there are, but from the ones I've seen, I really enjoyed their designs. For Zenless Zone Zero, every NPC have a different model and a different look to them, so it's hard to find an NPC who look the same. I appreciate gacha games who actually take the time on improving their storytelling by showing, not just telling. It makes a story way easier to understand and nice to experience. At first, this video was supposed to be my appreciation to Reverse 1999 NPCs, but then I played through 3.7 of Honkai Star Rail Story. Seeing Finest kid models being a random NPC, seeing them not even try to put any work in for Mayde's parents nor Anexa's sister really angered me. So I made this video instead. Now to end this video off, I want to talk about my top 5 Reverse 1999 NPCs besides, Enigma and Huffman. Coming in first, we have Sophia. When we first met her, I really loved her dynamic with Team Timekeeper and 37. I thought she was going to be playable during the next patch or something after 37, but that was never happened. Then seeing her transformation, her going to the evil side and getting a new fit, I need her to be playable now, by next patch. Coming in second, we have Marsha. As I mentioned at the start of this video, she was the main reason I even made this video to begin with. Even though we literally just met her in this most recent patch, I really enjoyed her involvement into the story. I also just enjoyed her character design. She's going to be playable in 3.3 Trust, I'm telling you right now. Coming in third, we have Pointer. I just love how sassy she is. Every time her and Elizabeth bickered, it just made me laugh. I also enjoyed her appearing in Elizabeth's story quest and not just the main event story. She also makes me laugh a lot. Coming in fourth, we have Miss Grace. I just really love Miss Grace, guys. Her being the villain throughout the whole 2X series was just absolute cinema. And if she does ever become playable, I just feel like she fit the red and black aesthetic. After chapter 10, to be honest, I don't even know when we're going to see her again. But from that note we have received, it looks like she's going to be walking her own path now. She was the second best villain we had after Arcana, if I'm being honest. And speaking of Arcana, coming in fifth, we have Arcana. She is the best villain we have in Reverse 1999 so far. Every time I see her, I just know something is finna go down. I just want to know more about her. We met her in chapter 2, it's 11 chapters, and we still don't know her true motives yet. Would I want her to be playable? Of course I do. But at the same time, I just feel like she feels better as a villain instead of a playable character. If she does become playable, one thing I know for sure is Blue Pack is not going to turn her good just for her to be a playable character. Another thing I love about Reverse is they're never afraid to make a morally great character playable. We have seen it done with Alof. Even with the soul, but she alone deserves a whole different video toward just herself. She's also in my top 10 favorite playable Reverse 1999 characters. I love her so much, when are we going to see her again? Anyway, with those two examples, we know it can be done. With that, I can finally wrap up this video. Was this video just glazing Reverse 1999? Well yeah, if I don't glaze it, who else will? This video also contains my true feelings of all the NPCs of the gacha games I played. We don't all have the same exact opinion, and this is just my opinion. So don't get mad if you didn't like my take on things. So thank you for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it.